Right, so we are in the second video of the introduction to thesis statements for English C1000. So the last time we talked about the difference between fact and an opinion, and that we wanted the thesis statement to be an opinion. We wanted to be debatable because if it's just something that you can prove right away, there's not really much of a point to write the rest of the essay. So this is the next question that you want to ask your thesis or ask yourself about your thesis when, they say, hey, thesis. Like, are you about one specific topic? Are they committed to just talking about one thing? Because the big thing with thesis statements and essays is that readers get very convinced by detail. If you know all the details about something, it lends a lot of authority to your voice. And so you want to make sure that you're allowing yourself enough space to talk about something. So typically in academia, we narrow the focus so that we can talk about all the things in relation to a small topic, as opposed to brushing over a wide expanse of a topic that is sort of beyond our reach. Of course, there are some academics that do the general, and we have one. You all know Harari. He wrote the entire history of Homo sapiens in like I think it's like 300 something words. It's an amazing book, but nonetheless, we are going specific so that we can explain everything and really go into detail. Because with argument, we don't want the reader to wonder about anything. We just want them to, like, keep going the track that we're taking them. So this is about specificity. So typically what you're looking for is a specific topic and a clear opinion. Typically your thesis should be the best edited sentence in the entire thing because it's really what all of the other sentences are about. And so we want to make sure that it's a clear opinion with a specific topic, hopefully so that you can cover the entire thing by the time you get to the end of the essay, however many pages you have. So if I was going to do an example, like let's say I wanted to have a specific topic, and the first thing that came to my head was like animals. Animals, I mean, humans are animals. I'm currently looking for a dog. So yeah, animals comes to my head. But like animals, that's kind of like, that's a lot. There's like, trillions, quadrillions of animals just on this planet. So I'd want to narrow it to something a little bit more specific. So my brain would start thinking, okay, like what kind of animals do I like? I like crows, pit bulls, calico cats, elephants, humans. So basically, I would try to go through a bunch of different options in my head, but that's really showing me how big the topic is. And so from there, I would just kind of get rid of that. And I would then think about, pigs, right? Pigs, I think that's specific because that's one specific animal, but there are an awful lot of pigs out there, even just domestic pigs. There's like dozens and dozens. I don't even know how many there are. So I would, have to, I'm sorry about the animation. I love doing sort of just needless extra animations and transitions. It's sort of it's my thing with PowerPoint. But yeah, I would want to do pigs. So let's say I'm going to get more specific. I don't want to do wild pigs because I don't want to get killed. And so I would do domesticated pigs. I'm thinking like, yeah, that's specific. But if you ever look up domesticated pigs, there's like a lot of different kinds of them. So I would say, hey, how about teacup pot-bellied pigs? That's like one specific kind of domesticated pig. And so I'm getting specific enough where I could actually start to talk about one thing in a lot of detail, right? So after I do that, I get my topic. I'm going to talk about teacup pot-bellied pigs, right? I need to have a clear point of view about that topic. So there's a lot of things that go wrong when you try to express your point of view about a specific topic. Typically, a lot of the things that happen on the way, they're not like you're making mistakes or you're not doing the right things. They're really placeholders for the idea that you can't quite articulate yet. But if you just keep at it, you always end up being able to do it. So let's say I say, oh, teacup pot-bellied pigs are good. That's kind of vague. Like, at least I know it's on the positive, but like, good for what? I mean, some people would say that they're good to, like have as a pet. Some people would say that they're good to, I don't know, have for dinner, and some people would maybe say that they were good to eat for dinner. I don't know. I wouldn't imagine eating a teacup pot-bellied pigs, but people do that. And so we would need to know like what they're good for and what I mean by the word good. It's not a clear opinion yet. So once I say domesticated pigs are good pets, well, how and what kind, and notice how the kind of pig got a little bit more general. So I'm kind of moving into a more specific argument. I'm just going to talk about pets, not dinner. But at the same time, it's not quite there yet. Good pets, how? And again, what does good mean? And then we have this last one, domesticated pigs are well suited to living as indoor pet companions. So that's a pretty good working thesis to start with. I can actually start researching with that. But I probably should have stuck to teacup pot-bellied pigs just because it's more specific. And there's a lot of information out there about them. But that's what I mean. You want specific topics, so you might have to make it more narrow as you go along. And additionally, like whatever your opinion is, you want it to be about one specific thing related to that topic. So from there, this is one of those exercises. I am going to show you the options, and then what you can do is, pause when all the options are on there, and then we will talk about potential answers for them. But I'm going to actually read the topics this time, just because, yeah, they're kind of fun. So we have just general topics that need a point of view attached to them. So, let's say it's like the topic is deal breakers on first dates, right? Like for me, if they don't tip, like that's a no. There's no, and it's just because it's rude. I used to wait tables. I just bleh. But there's a lot of different things that people could have as the opinion of that's what a deal breaker is. For some people, them not tipping is not a deal breaker. Another one is college student loan forgiveness. Since you guys are college students, you probably have an opinion on that. Or at least I hope you do, because yeah, student debt it can get pretty gnarly. So hopefully we can change that at some point in the future. Another topic: juveniles tried as adults for violent crimes. Is it a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Does it depend on the crime? Like who's saying that what is a crime? Which is what the first unit that we are doing is all about. Opinion on your best friend's much younger boyfriend. For me, I would never really express that out loud. And then Q-Tip's ad slogan. And if you haven't heard it, Q-Tips ad slogan, that's sort of their advertisement for, their product, Q-Tips. And it's rather strange. Basically, here it is. So Q-Tips ad slogan. Tell me what you think of this topic. It is 2 tips, endless possibilities. If you look on the back of a Q-tip, I hope I don't get sued for this. If you look back on the Q-tip box, you will see that this is their advertising. And just as far as a specific and clear argument on one thing, it's an opinion, but like endless possibilities. Like anything until we run out of things and then more. Because I remember that Q-tips, you're not supposed to stick them too deep in your ear, but if the possibilities are endless, I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, that's an example of like an opinion that is not quite specific and focused enough, at least, for the purposes of our class and the rhetoric that we use to be like an argument. Anyway, so that is where we are going to end with this second video of, it's probably going to be 3 or 4 about thesis statements. So far, this is what we have as the qualities of a good thesis statement. Because remember, the question at the beginning was, is my thesis statement any good? Well, right now we know that it has a specific topic and focus, and also it features clearly stated opinion on that specific topic. We will get into later on, like just how clear the prose needs to be. Like, you want this sentence to not only be like incredibly clear and undeniable what you're talking about, you want it to be memorable too, because they have to go through a lot of other words in order for you to prove that thesis. So making sure that it is crystal clear and a little snappy, we're going to talk about how to do that in this class as well. But this is what we know so far about like how you can check and make sure that your thesis is a good one. And then the next thing that we're going to cover is, why is the big deal about the thesis? Like, why do we have to have one? What's the importance of it? Because it is both a blessing and a curse. Coming up with a good thesis is really hard, but at the same time, if, the reader knows where you're going, that's also good. So we're going to talk a little bit about like the purpose of a thesis and what you want to accomplish with it, so that you'll be able to use those things to determine as well whether or not the thesis that you are currently working on is where it needs to be, or if a little more work is still needed. Right, so I will see you in the next video.